If you're a green card holder, a visa applicant, or someone sponsoring a loved one to come to the US, I have urgent news you can't afford to miss. Starting August 21st, major changes to immigration rules will take effect, and these aren't small adjustments. These updates could impact your ability to keep your status, bring family members to the US, or even renew certain documents. We're talking about new sponsor requirements, changes in financial obligations, and stricter documentation rules that could affect applications already in progress. In some cases, what was acceptable yesterday will no longer be enough after August 21st. That means delays, denials, or extra steps you didn't see coming. For green card holders, this shakeup could also influence how you prove residency, how you maintain eligibility for certain benefits, and how your timeline toward U.S. citizenship might shift. If you've been planning to file an application soon, the difference between filing before or after this date could be huge. And if you're a sponsor, maybe for your spouse, your parents, or your children, you need to understand the new financial and legal responsibilities being added. Some sponsors will now have to provide more detailed proof of income, assets, and commitment than ever before, with new enforcement rules if obligations aren't met. Here's the thing, a lot of people don't even know these changes are coming. They're busy with work, family, and daily life, completely unaware that in just a short time, the rules will shift under their feet. My goal today is to make sure you're not one of them. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll break down exactly what's changing, who it affects, and what you can do right now to protect yourself and your loved ones before the August 21st deadline. Before we dive in, if you find this information helpful, hit that like button. It helps more green card holders like you stay informed and prepared for changes that could shape their future in the US. Now, let's get into the heart of what's really happening on August 21st, because I know you're here for answers, not confusion. Immigration news can sometimes feel like a whirlwind of legal terms and official statements that don't make sense to regular people. That's why I'm going to break this down for you like we're sitting across the table, coffee in hand, talking about your future. The first thing you need to know is that these changes are not random. They're part of a broader update to immigration policies that the government says will strengthen the integrity of the system. Sounds nice on paper, right? But in reality, that phrase often means more rules, tighter checks, and higher demands from applicants and sponsors. And for many people, it's not just about paperwork, it's about whether you can keep your family together, meet deadlines, or even stay on track for citizenship. One of the biggest updates is for sponsors. If you've sponsored someone before, you know the process has always involved proving that you can financially support the person you're bringing to the US, but starting August 21st, the standards are going up. The government will now require more detailed proof of your income and assets, and in some cases, they'll check in more often to make sure you're still meeting those requirements even after your family member arrives. And here's something that's making a lot of people nervous. If a sponsored immigrant receives certain public benefits, the government could now take action to recover those costs from the sponsor. I can already imagine some of you watching this and thinking, but I'm already a green card holder, so this doesn't affect me, right? Well, here's the tricky part, it might. If you've been thinking about sponsoring a parent or spouse, or if your children will need visas, these new rules could apply to you the moment you file that application. And for those who still have conditions on their green card, like conditional permanent residents who need to remove those conditions, these policy shifts could influence how your evidence is reviewed and whether your case moves forward smoothly or hits roadblocks. Another area getting a big shakeup is documentation. In the past, some applicants could get by with basic proof, a few bank statements, a tax return, or a simple letter of employment. Now, the bar is higher. Officials are asking for multiple years of tax returns, detailed employment verification, and in some cases, even proof of assets like property ownership or retirement savings. If you've ever felt like they already asked for too much, you might be in for a surprise, because this is going to be even more intense. Why does this matter so much? Because immigration applications don't just get denied for big reasons, they often get delayed or rejected for small, technical mistakes. Forget to include one document, provide something outdated, submit a form that's not the latest version. Boom, your case could be sent back, and with the new rules, that delay might mean having to refile under tougher standards. That's why I always say, when it comes to immigration paperwork, the smallest details can make the biggest difference. For green card holders who are already living in the US, there's also a ripple effect. If you're planning to apply for US citizenship in the near future, these changes could indirectly affect your application timeline. How? Because certain background checks and verifications will now take longer, and in some cases, if there are questions about your sponsor history or financial stability, those can slow things down even if your citizenship application itself is solid. I've spoken to people who've been here for years, who work hard, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities, yet they're still nervous about each new immigration update. And I get it. This isn't just about documents, it's about peace of mind. It's about knowing that your future here isn't hanging by a thread because of a form you filled out 2 years ago. There's another important piece of this puzzle: visa holders. If you're on a temporary visa, maybe a work visa or a student visa, and you're in the process of adjusting your status to a green card, the timing of your application just became even more critical. File before August 21st, and you might fall under the current, slightly less demanding rules. File after, you'll have to meet the new, higher requirements. That's why so many immigration attorneys are urging their clients to get their applications in as soon as possible while they still can. Let's also talk about families, because for so many of you, immigration is deeply personal. It's not just about where you live, it's about bringing your spouse here so you can finally be together, or helping your parents join you so they can spend their later years surrounded by family instead of oceans apart. These changes, unfortunately, could make that process longer and more expensive. And if you don't prepare for them now, they could also make it more stressful than it needs to be. I know this all sounds intense, and it is, but here's the good news. Being informed puts you ahead of the curve. While some people will be blindsided by these changes on August 21st, you'll already know what's coming. You can start gathering documents now, talking to your sponsor, reviewing your case, and making sure everything is airtight before you file. And if you've been delaying your application because life's been busy, trust me, I get it. This might be the wake-up call you need. The difference between applying on August 20th and August 22nd could be the difference between a smoother process and months of extra work. Over the next few weeks, you'll probably see more headlines and hear more chatter about these changes. Some of it will be accurate, some of it will be exaggerated, and some of it might be downright misleading. That's why I'm committed to giving you the clearest, most reliable breakdowns right here, so you don't have to dig through government websites trying to decode lawyer speak. At the end of the day, these rules aren't just lines in a policy document. They're decisions that can affect where you live, who you live with, and how secure your life in the US feels. Whether you're a green card holder, a visa applicant, or a sponsor, the smartest move you can make right now is to get ahead of the changes, double-check your paperwork, and make sure you're ready before August 21st hits. And remember, you don't have to face this alone. There are immigration attorneys, community organizations, and yes, even videos like this one, designed to guide you through the process step by step. My goal is to keep you informed, confident, and one step ahead, no matter how the rules change. So keep watching until the very end, because I'm going to walk you through some real-life examples of how these changes could play out for different situations, and I'll share the key actions you can take today to protect your status and your family's future in the US.